Ever wonder why some people, uh, seem like they're just born to run marathons and other people, were amazing at powerlifting?
Yeah.
It turns out it's all about your muscle fibers.
Mm-hmm.
We're diving deep today into some articles about muscle fiber types and energy systems to
Oh.
really see how these things impact our workouts.
It's so fascinating how much is actually going on like beneath the surface when we exercise.
Right.
We tend to focus so much on the reps, and the weights and everything, and we don't often think about the microscopic reasons
Yeah.
why we might be good or bad at certain things. So today we're going to
And let's unlock our inner fitness detective here.
Yeah.
I know there are different types of muscle fibers,
Uh-huh.
but can you break it down? Like, what are they?
Yeah, so think of it this way. You have three basic types of muscle fibers. Okay. So you have your slow twitch, which is also known as type I.
Okay.
Then you have your fast twitch, and there's two types of those. You have type IA and type I.
Okay.
And then they each have their own kind of personality. Oh, interesting.
So to speak.
Okay.
So the slow twitch fibers, they're kind of like the marathon runners of your muscles.
Okay.
They contract slowly and they resist fatigue,
Makes sense.
which makes them perfect for endurance activities.
Yeah.
Like long distance running.
Uh-huh.
And the really interesting thing about these slow twitch fibers is that when you train them, they actually lead to some really cool adaptations.
Like what?
So one thing is you get this increased mitochondrial density,
Okay.
which is basically helps your muscles use oxygen way more efficiently.
Wow. So you get better at using oxygen.
You get better using oxygen, and you actually get better at burning fat, too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So slow twitch is for endurance.
Yeah.
But what about when we need to lift something heavy, or we need to really have that explosive movement?
Right.
That's where fast twitch comes in, right?
That's where fast twitch comes in, yeah.
Okay.
So fast twitch fibers, those are all about speed and power.
So they fire very quickly, giving you that burst of strength for, think of weightlifting or sprinting.
Gotcha.
Now, within that fast twitch category, like I said, we have type Thea and type IA.
Yeah.
Type Pi fibers, they're kind of like a hybrid.
Okay.
They can handle both endurance and strength.
Oh, cool.
So they're really important for activities like middle distance running, or, if you're doing like a HII class or something like that.
Yeah.
Type I, on the other hand, these are the true powerhouses.
Okay.
They're built for those really short bursts of intense effort.
Gotcha.
So think like heavy deadlifts or like 100-meter dash.
So we all have a mix of these different types of fibers.
We do.
But what determines someone's dominant type? Like, is
Yeah.
it just all genetics, or like what's going on?
Yeah. So genetics definitely plays a role for sure.
Okay.
But the cool thing is, through specific training, we can actually influence these fibers to adapt.
Oh, wow.
So they can become more like one type or the other.
So they're not set in stone.
They're not set in stone.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you can kind of coax them.
That's so cool.
What do
It's
you-
like a choose your own adventure story for our muscles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just like any good adventure story, it's important to understand the different energy systems that fuel these fibers.
Okay.
So those slow twitch fibers that we were talking about,
Yeah.
they rely primarily on the oxidative system.
Oxidative system.
So the system uses oxygen to produce energy.
Okay.
It's very efficient,
Uh-huh.
but it takes time to ramp up.
So like a marathon runner. They don't just like take off in the beginning.
Exactly. They slowly get up to speed.
Right.
Now, those fast twitch fibers, they primarily use something called the anaerobic systems.
Anaerobic.
Yeah, and there's two of them.
Okay.
We have the phosphagen system and the glycolytic system.
Okay, that's a lot of big words.
Yeah, and they sound very complicated, but basically these systems don't need oxygen.
Okay.
And they're all about providing quick energy. So think about like sprinting to catch a bus or, lifting a heavy grocery bag off the ground.
I see.
That's your anaerobic system kicking in.
Okay.
Now, the phosphagen system, that's kind of like your body's emergency power generator.
Interesting.
It gives you that immediate energy, but it depletes really quickly within about 8 to 12 seconds.
Wow, that's fast.
Yeah, then the glycolytic system kicks in, and that provides energy for high-intensity efforts that can last up to about 2 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So it's a little bit longer.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I never knew like our body had these different energy systems for different demands.
Yeah. It's pretty incredible how it all works.
So let's connect this back to our workouts then.
Okay.
Like if I'm doing a set of heavy squats,
Yeah.
which system am I primarily using?
So with heavy squats, you're primarily tapping into those powerful fast twitch fibers
Okay.
and their anaerobic energy system.
Makes sense.
Especially the phosphagen system for those initial bursts of energy you need to lift that weight.
Interesting. So it sounds like understanding these energy systems is like
Yeah.
a big key to making our workouts more effective.
Absolutely.
But how do we even know which system we're using when we're like doing a certain exercise?
Right. So that's where paying attention to the duration and intensity of your efforts comes in.
Okay.
So those short bursts of explosive activity, like, a heavy lift or a sprint,
Right.
those are going to rely more on your anaerobic systems.
Oh, wow.
Whereas those longer efforts, like, going for a sustained run,
Yeah.
those are going to primarily utilize that oxidative system.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So basically by like understanding these systems and our dominant muscle fiber type,
Right.
we can like design workouts that specifically target our goals.
Exactly.
That's amazing. It's about working with your body, not against it.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
that. That's great.
Yeah.
This is really cool. I can already see how this is going to change how I think about working out.
Yeah.
But how do we figure out, like, what our dominant muscle fiber type is?
Is there like a test or something?
So there are lab tests that exist.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But, there's also some practical ways that we can kind of get a sense of our muscle fiber makeup.
Okay.
And we'll dive deeper into that next time.
Okay.
But for now, think about, like, the types of activities that you naturally gravitate towards.
Yeah.
And what are you good at?
Yeah.
And those can provide some really valuable clues.
Yeah. Like I love to run, but I do not like to lift weights. So
There you go.
maybe that tells me something.
That might tell you something, yeah.
Okay. Well, this is making me rethink my entire workout routine already, so I can't wait to find out more.
Right.
But before we move on, I just want to make sure that we emphasize that this is about understanding our bodies better, not like limiting ourselves.
Right.
Like just because I might have more slow twitch fibers doesn't mean I can't lift weight.
Exactly.
It's at knowing your strengths and then training accordingly.
Exactly. Yeah, I completely agree. It's about optimizing your potential, not putting yourself in a box.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm already hooked.
Awesome.
So if you're ready to uncover more about your own muscle fiber type and how to unlock your full athletic potential,
Yeah.
join us for part 2 of this deep dive. We're going to be exploring how to actually determine your dominant muscle fiber type and then how to use that knowledge to personalize your workouts.
Sounds good.
Welcome back, fitness explorers. Last time we were uncovering all the different types of muscle fibers and how they use energy. But how do we actually unlock the secrets of our own muscle fiber makeup? Like, is there a magic mirror that like tells you what your muscle type is?
Right. Well, a magic mirror would be cool,
Yeah.
but your body actually gives you some pretty clear clues.
Okay.
It's like a feedback loop.
Okay.
You push your body and it tells you what it's good at.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So it's about like paying attention to how we perform in different activities.
Exactly. So remember how we talked about those slow twitch fibers being great for endurance?
Yeah.
So if you find yourself, naturally drawn to those long runs and you can go the distance without feeling completely drained, you probably have a higher percentage of those endurance-loving fibers.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But what about like the people who are more into strength training?
Right.
Would they have more fast twitch fibers?
You're catching on quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, if you excel at those explosive movements like lifting heavy weights or sprinting,
Yeah.
your fast twitch fibers are likely dominant.
Okay.
They thrive on those short bursts of power.
But what about like, those of us who like to do a mix of things? Like, I like to run, I like to lift weights, I like to do yoga.
Right.
How do we decode those signals?
So that's where things get even more interesting.
Okay.
Incorporating a variety of training styles can really help you uncover that unique blend of muscle fibers that you have.
Oh, cool.
It's like experimenting with different ingredients to see what creates the perfect recipe for your body.
I like that.
Yeah.
So like, how would this experimentation actually work?
Okay, so let's say you try a high-intensity interval training workout.
Like HIIT?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
If you find yourself powering through those short, intense bursts, but then you need, longer recovery periods, that might indicate that you have a higher percentage of those fast twitch fibers.
Oh, okay.
On the other hand, if you're someone who can maintain a steady pace for longer intervals,
Yeah.
but you struggle with those explosive sprints,
Yeah.
your slow twitch fibers might be more prominent.
So basically, by challenging ourselves in different ways, we can kind of start to see patterns
Right?
and be like, oh, okay, this is what my body is good at and not good at.
Exactly. It's like your body's giving you these clues,
Yeah.
and you just need to learn how to interpret them.
I like that.
Yeah.
So once you start to understand those clues, then you can really personalize your training
Yeah.
to maximize your potential.
Imagine, knowing exactly what kind of workout would make your body thrive.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's like a secret weapon.
Exactly.
Okay, so can you give us some specific examples of how to personalize our training
Yeah,
based on muscle fiber type?
absolutely. So let's go back to our runners.
Okay.
If you know you have a higher percentage of those slow twitch fibers,
Yeah.
you can really hone in on that endurance training.
Okay.
Incorporate those longer run cycling sessions, even swimming into your routine.
Right.
You could even, explore something like marathon training, which really pushes the boundaries of endurance
Wow. Yeah.
and really capitalizes on those slow twitch strengths.
But what about for like our power lifters?
Right.
You know, those fast twitch enthusiasts.
Exactly. So for someone with a dominance in fast twitch fibers,
Yeah.
the training focus might shift towards, heavy weightlifting plyometric sprints.
Okay.
These activities tap into their innate power and explosiveness.
It sounds like this personalized approach
Yeah.
can really make a difference
It can.
in how our bodies respond to training.
For sure.
But what about this concept of progressive overload?
Right.
I've heard that's important
Yes.
for making progress,
It is.
no matter what your muscle fiber type is.
Regardless.
Can you explain what that means?
Yeah, so progressive overload is really the key to unlocking those gains
Okay.
and pushing your body to adapt and grow stronger.
Wow.
So essentially it means gradually increasing the demands on your muscles over time.
So it's not about sticking to the same workout routine week after week?
Exactly. Our bodies are incredibly adaptable,
Yeah.
but they need to be challenged consistently in order to change.
Gotcha. So like, what are some practical ways
Yeah.
that we can do that?
So for our endurance athletes, it might mean gradually increasing your mileage or your run time each week.
Okay.
Maybe you add hills into your route, or you explore a new trail running path.
Okay.
The key is just to make it a little more challenging than the last time.
Oh.
Yeah, and for our strength training friends, if you're lifting weights,
Yeah.
you can gradually increase the weight that you lift, the number of reps you perform, or the number of sets that you complete.
Okay.
You could also try more challenging variations of exercises or shorten your rest periods between sets.
So many options.
Yeah, it's all about pushing those boundaries little by little.
I like that.
Yeah.
This has given me so many ideas for my workouts.
Awesome.
But I want to circle back to something that we touched on earlier.
Okay.
We were talking about like training one type of fiber versus the other.
Right.
But shouldn't we be training all of them
You're absolutely right.
for overall fitness?
That is a fantastic point.
Okay, good.
Incorporating a variety of training styles
Yeah.
isn't just about discovering your muscle fiber type.
Uh-huh.
It's also about creating this well-rounded fitness foundation.
Okay.
Think of it this way. You wouldn't just eat one type of food every day, right?
Yeah, no, that'd be bad.
Your body needs a balanced diet of nutrients to thrive. And the same goes for your workouts.
So even if I know I have a higher percentage of slow twitch fibers, I should still incorporate some strength training into my routine.
Strength training, even for endurance athletes, is crucial for injury prevention, improved posture, balanced muscle development, and reduced aches and pains.
It's like a win-win.
Yeah. And plus, who doesn't want to feel strong and capable in their everyday life?
For sure.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
This is making me realize how interconnected all these concepts are.
They are.
Muscle fiber types, energy systems, progressive overload, the importance of like balanced training.
It's all part of this bigger picture of fitness.
Yeah.
And speaking of the bigger picture, let's not forget one of the most important aspects of training.
Which is?
Rest and recovery.
Oh, yes. Rest.
Yeah.
Something I am definitely guilty of neglecting sometimes.
Yeah, it happens. But why is it so crucial?
So when we work out,
Yeah.
we're actually creating these tiny little micro tears in our muscle fibers. Okay.
And it's during those rest periods that our bodies repair and rebuild those muscles, making them stronger and more resilient.
So skipping rest days is actually like counterproductive.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Rest isn't just about letting your muscles recover. It's about letting your entire body recharge.
Okay.
Remember those different energy systems we talked about?
Yeah.
They need time to replenish their fuel stores too.
That's a good point. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
So how much rest do we actually need? Like,
Right.
is there a magic number?
So it varies depending on, your training intensity, your fitness level, and even your age.
Oh.
But a good rule of thumb is to aim for at least 1 or 2 days of complete rest per week.
Okay.
And don't underestimate the power of active recovery.
Active recovery.
Yeah, like gentle stretching yoga or even just a leisurely walk.
Oh, okay.
Those can do wonders for your body and mind.
I'm starting to see rest in like a whole new light.
Good.
It's not just about being lazy. It's like an active part of the training process.
It is.
That's when all the stuff we've been working for is actually like happening.
Exactly.
That's when the muscles are getting stronger.
That's when the magic happens.
This is all starting to make so much sense.
Good.
But there's one question that's still kind of lingering in my mind.
Okay.
Can we actually change our muscle fiber type?
Okay.
Like if someone's naturally more slow twitch dominant, can they train to become more fast twitch?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's one that scientists are still exploring.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So while our genetic makeup definitely plays a role in determining, our muscle fiber type distribution, research suggests that we can induce some degree of adaptation through training.
So like there's hope for those of us who secretly dream of being sprinters.
Well, maybe not Olympic level sprinters overnight.
Okay.
But the possibility of enhancing those fast twitch capabilities is definitely there.
That's still cool.
Yeah, it's about incorporating training that specifically targets those adaptations.
Okay.
Such as, explosive movements like plyometrics and sprints.
This is so empowering.
It is.
It's like we're not just stuck with the cards we're dealt.
Right.
You actually have some power to like change things.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah. It's about understanding your body, working with its strengths and pushing those boundaries. And who knows, you might surprise yourself with what you can achieve.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Before we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Okay.
I want to touch on something you mentioned earlier. You said that research is still ongoing in this field.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, what are some of the unanswered questions?
Right, so there's still so much to learn.
Yeah.
For example, scientists are still investigating the precise mechanisms behind muscle fiber type transitions.
Okay.
Like what triggers those adaptations at a cellular level?
Oh, wow.
And how much can we actually influence those transitions through training? Those are just a few of the mysteries that keep researchers busy.
It's exciting to know that like we're still kind of on the frontier
We are.
of understanding how our bodies work.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the end of part 2 of our deep dive.
Awesome.
But the journey doesn't end here.
Oh?
In part 3, we'll delve into some of the latest research on muscle fiber plasticity
Okay.
and explore some cutting-edge training techniques
Sounds good.
that can help you take your workouts to the next level.
Welcome back for the final stretch of our muscle fiber deep dive.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to uncover even more about the cutting edge of training and what the latest research has to say.
You know, there's always something new to discover in the world of fitness. It seems like the more we learn about muscle fibers, the more fascinating they become.
Totally. And in the last 2 parts, we talked about the different types, the energy systems and how to personalize your training.
Wow.
But we also touched on how much research is still going on.
Right.
What are some of the latest findings that are really changing the game? Yeah. So one area that's generating a lot of buzz is muscle fiber plasticity.
Okay.
And that's basically the ability of muscle fibers to adapt and change in response to training.
Okay.
We used to think that our muscle fiber makeup was pretty much set in stone.
Yeah.
But now we're seeing that it's much more dynamic than we originally thought.
So you're telling me it's not just about what we're born with.
Right.
We can actually influence our muscle fiber composition through training.
It seems that way. Yeah, research suggests that specific training protocols can actually nudge our muscle fibers to become more like one type or another.
So for example, endurance training can cause some fast twitch fibers to take on more slow twitch characteristics.
Exactly, like increased mitochondrial density for better oxygen utilization.
That's incredible. So we can actually train our muscles to become more specialized for the demands that we're putting on them.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
What kind of training techniques are showing promise for impacting this muscle fiber plasticity?
Okay, so you've probably heard of high intensity interval training, or HIIT.
Yeah, HIIT training is really popular.
It is, and for good reason.
Okay.
HIIT workouts with those short bursts of intense exercise, followed by those brief recovery periods,
Yeah.
they seem to be particularly effective at inducing changes in muscle fiber composition.
Interesting.
Specifically, they can actually increase the oxidative capacity of those fast twitch fibers, making them more endurance-oriented.
That makes sense because you're tapping into both aerobic and anaerobic systems.
Exactly. You're giving your muscles a taste of everything.
Yeah, it's like a buffet for your muscles.
Exactly. And it challenges them in a way that forces them to adapt.
Okay, cool. And is there anything else?
Another technique that's garnering a lot of attention is eccentric training.
Okay, eccentric training.
Yeah.
Remind me, what exactly is that?
Okay, so eccentric training focuses on the lengthening phase of a movement.
Okay.
When the muscle is under tension, so think of like the lowering phase of a bicep curl or the downward motion of a squat,
Gotcha.
it might seem counterintuitive. But research suggests that eccentric training can be really powerful for stimulating muscle growth and even encouraging shifts in muscle fiber type composition, potentially towards more fast twitch characteristics.
Oh, wow. So if someone's like looking to build muscle and increase their power, incorporating more eccentric training could be a smart strategy.
It's definitely worth exploring, but remember, eccentric training can be demanding on your muscles.
Right.
So it's important to start gradually and increase the intensity over time to prevent injury.
Yeah, that's a good point. Safety first.
Always safety first.
This is also fascinating. It's like we're peeling back the layers of how our bodies work and adapt to training.
It is pretty amazing.
It feels really empowering to know that we have so much potential to influence our physical capabilities.
Absolutely. And, this knowledge can also have a really powerful impact on our mindset and motivation.
Oh, how so?
Well, when we understand the science behind our workouts,
Yeah.
it can make us more intentional, more determined to push ourselves, and more resilient when we face challenges.
It's like we're not just going through the motions. We're actively participating in shaping our own fitness destiny.
Exactly.
But with all this talk about like pushing our limits and optimizing performance,
Right.
I think it's also important to remind ourselves to listen to our bodies.
Absolutely.
So how do we balance this drive for improvement with the need for rest and recovery?
That's such a crucial point.
Mhm.
We've made these incredible strides in understanding muscle fibers and training techniques, but at the end of the day, the most important tool that we have is our own intuition.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So what are some signs that we might need to ease up or take a break?
So pay attention to how you feel. If you have persistent fatigue, muscle soreness that lingers for days, joint pain changes in sleep patterns, or even feeling mentally burned out, these are all signals from your body that it needs more rest.
So it sounds like rest is just as important as pushing ourselves during workouts.
It is absolutely. Rest is when the real magic happens.
Yeah.
It's when those microscopic tears in our muscle fibers are repaired and our energy systems are replenished.
So it's like taking a step back to allow our bodies to catch up and rebuild stronger than before.
Exactly.
Wow, this has been such an eye-opening deep dive.
It has.
We've gone from the basics of muscle physiology to cutting-edge training techniques, and I feel like I have a whole new understanding of how my body works and how to optimize my workouts.
It's been a pleasure exploring these concepts with, fitness is a journey of continuous learning and discovery.
Yeah.
Keep asking questions, stay curious, and most importantly, enjoy the process.
Well said, and that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the fascinating world of muscle fibers and training. I hope you've enjoyed the journey as much as I have. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep moving your body in ways that make you feel strong and empowered.